Now the next thing I'm going to show you is how you calculate the firm's weighted average cost of capital. Now the videos you just watched now, we went through all the component costs of capital. And so you'll see on the right-hand side of the board over here, I collected those examples that we went through and collected the component cost of capital. So the cost of debt after taxes is 6%. The cost of capital for preferred stock, 12.96%. The cost of capital for common stock, 16.1%. And the cost of capital for retained earnings, 15.09%. So those would be something that you would have put together yourself. You would also have to collect information. Now, the reason you would do a weighted average cost of capital now is because the company's thinking about raising money to go out and finance a new project. Now, those kinds of projects now will be referred to as a capital budget. Again, a capital budget, this is money the company's thinking about investing. Could be in a new plant, they're going to build a new mall, whatever it is, that's their capital budget. This is how much money they think they need to raise in order to go out and invest in new assets. You go to the company's accountant, CPA, they tell you that they expect the earnings available to the common shareholder, EAS, to be $3 million. Now that's the money that owners can either pay to themselves in dividends or can retain in the firm. And this company has a policy of having a dividend payout ratio of 40%. So this $3 million here, 40% of it, $1.2 million is going to be paid out in dividends. That means the other 60% is going to be retained in the firm. And so if you take EAS, earnings available to the shareholder, multiply it by 1 minus the dividend payout ratio, which would be 60%, you'd end up with the retained earnings the company should expect. So off this level of earnings now, we're going to pay 40% in dividends. The other 60% we're going to retain in the firm. So 60% of the earnings available to the shareholder will be $1.8 million. And that's going to be the money we think we're going to have available in retained earnings. Now, that's going to be important. This kind of thing is important because you're going to see here in a few minutes now, when we put together the weighted average cost of capital, it's not going to ask us for the cost of capital for common stock and then the cost of capital for retained earnings. It's actually going to ask us for the cost of capital for equity. And you're going to see in the next video that the cost of equity capital is a weighted average cost. And it's a weighted average cost between these two sources of equity capital, common stock and retained earnings. So the new piece of information really here that we have that we're going to need is how much we expect to have in retained earnings available for us. In this case, $1.8 million.